This is Community Unveiled, meeting the secret validators. On this podcast and YouTube series, we are here to allow the secret community to have a personal connection and insight into the validators that support the secret network. Here at Secure Secrets, we value community, privacy as a human right, transparency as the key to unlocking the full value of a decentralized community, and finally, continuous growth through teamwork and collaboration. I'm Carter Lee Wetzel with Secure Secrets, your host. Without further ado, let's meet our guest. This is episode number 1 of Community Unveiled, meeting the secret validators. Today, Secure Secrets is, interviewing ourselves. Secure Secrets is a validator run by Mohammed Patla. And without further ado, let's jump right in. So Mohammed, welcome to this awesome series where we get to know our validators a little bit better. So Mohammed, in your own words, who are you personally, professionally, in 30 seconds? Like if you give us a rundown of what that looks like.
So again, my name is Mohammed. I'm actually a developer. I do some kind of video works here and there on committee meetings and stuff. Trying to be part of the foundation as much as I can, and that is my involvement as far as blockchain is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I am also a student currently, hopefully graduating at the end of this year.
Sure.
And I'm currently excited about what's going around Secret Network.
Sure. So what kind of got you into the blockchain space in the first place, and when did that journey begin for you?
So I think the first time I came into blockchain was at the end of 2016, beginning of 2017.
Sure.
I think I came in with more of an investment mindset at that point. And I did put in some money involved, and made some profits, made some losses there with the whole ICO boom thing.
As did most of us.
That being the case, I think I really got into the development aspect at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, because I saw how protocols were pitching themselves, and that was the whole case of ICOs in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, maybe I should get involved with my skills that I have, development skills that I have in this space. And I think that's where I started to gain more interest. And I think I joined Enigma in 2019.
Sure.
Been part of it since then, and I do be part of some projects here and there, trying to see if I can collaborate or help in any open source projects.
Sure.
That's pretty much it.
So what you said, 2019, you kind of found out about Enigma and you started to kind of head in that direction. So now in its current rendition, we know it as the Secret Network. What kind of pulled you into this particular project, and what inspired you to be a validator?
I think for the first part, what inspired me to be part of Enigma, I think their vision of bringing privacy to public data is critical. And I think the whole blockchain space is booming because there's so much public data going out, and controlling public data in this way which is consistent and also tamper-proof in a way, right?
Sure.
So I feel that public data has to be processed, saved, stored, all of these things. And Enigma was bringing this solution that is bringing privacy for use cases. And financial industry absolutely will want this. Like the financial industry is like all privacy. Oh, no one wants their bank account balance known to the world, right? So I think that was the initial concept and idea that brought me into Enigma. Like privacy is something everybody requires to some extent, and bigger institutions and their customers would definitely want privacy, and that's what got me into this space.
Sure.
As far as being a validator, I think that came up a bit later. Initially, it was more so because there weren't enough validators in the network, and I'm like, I'll just spin up a node once the Secret Network was launched, and I'll be just part of the network. And since then, I have seen that there is interest in being a validator because I do have my own stake that I want to obviously make sure that is delegated on the network. But I also see that there is more critical skills required to set up a validator that my development skills really help and be part of.
Sure.
So
sure.
I'm like, that would boost me 2 months forward, and I'm sitting as a validator on the network, got hardware set up for it,
Right.
for SGX, for the next network upgrade, and I'm totally all in this.
Right. I mean, would you say it was a pretty like sharp learning curve, or did you feel like you're able to get the hang of it right away? Like, was that an intimidating jump to be like, all right, let's get the hardware, let's get the setup so we can make this happen? Because a lot of people don't know the process of like becoming a validator. Like everyone knows, it takes a certain amount of technical skills to be able to make it happen, but most people don't necessarily understand what that looks like.
Right. When initially the network came around, the documentation wasn't that clear. It is a step-by-step process. And I think I've been helping on that aspect as well a bit by contributing and being part of the network.
Right.
And I think, yes, there was like some things that were broken at the beginning, and over iterating it, it fixed itself. Although the network was fine, it was just the documentation on how to get started. And I think the documentation today is far better than it was like 4 months ago when Validator came up. Although it was super easy to spin up a node before, the coming upgrade with the testnet is going to be a little more complicated because for our case, for the secret network specifically, we need SGX hardware, and that is going to be a critical component of the network. And there's a whole discussion on just the secret forums and the chat about infrastructure on what could actually be used for SGX hardware.
Right.
So that this all combined, I feel there is still a learning curve for new validators coming in, especially into the network.
Right. And what would you say the biggest challenge small validators or large validators such as yourself encounter? Which in this case, you would probably quantify yourself as a smaller validator, correct?
Yes, I definitely would call myself as a smaller validator, especially considering the infrastructure I have in place compared to many others. I would say I'm a small validator, and I think in my case, particularly as a small validator, I feel that it is important that delegators actually should consider spreading the stake across multiple validators, especially the small ones, because you don't want a concentration of power, voting power on big nodes. And I always tell this to most people that come forward to me. They're looking to either delegate to me or others. I tell them that, hey man, like you should probably split up your stake and make it so that you are sure about 5 different validators and put a stake on there. Right. And you trust it. So I think it is important as a small validator that people come and delegate to me because we want to make sure that the network is more secure with the spread being thin.
Sure. That seems like a pretty good segue into the next question here, in that there's always kind of this push and pull of like your large validators like enjoy a certain amount of control that gives you a certain amount of influence on the network. So like, what is your greatest concern for the secret network? Is decentralization of governance one of those concerns, or what would you say, Mohammed, with Secure Secrets? What is your biggest concern for the network?
From Secure Secrets perspective, I would say it's more because currently the network and the foundation particularly that governs everything related to the network is very much in the early stages. Yep. And there's influence from a few parties that could affect the network or the direction the network moves in. And I think that has to be really made sure and clarified. And I think the way to achieve that is making the foundation stronger, bigger, and more structured and concrete, so that no particular entity can just influence the whole network. And I think that's one of my biggest concerns as Secure Secrets. I'm hoping that the foundation becomes stronger to support all the different entities on the network.
Right, right. How do you see the secret network and the community evolving the next 2 years? I mean, this space moves so quickly. Like if you think about 2018 to 2020 and even 2016 to 2018, things move so quick. But in the Cosmos ecosystem, like how do you envision the Cosmos ecosystem and this particular community with Secret Network?
Right. I totally feel that like my thoughts are pretty clear on this. That Secret Network is definitely going to boom because of its privacy aspect.
Yep.
But considering the whole wider ecosystem, the Cosmos ecosystem particularly, where IBC will come into play, and this is really important for a Secret Network as well as other networks, because currently I think most projects are based off Ethereum, and once we have a bridge towards Ethereum, we could essentially be using the secret network on Ethereum dApps. And I think that is critical because we don't want to be stuck on this particular aspect that we are part of one ecosystem, and that's the
Right.
only ecosystem we can ever use it with. Because especially the functionality and the value proposition we offer is definitely far greater than that, and it could apply to all of blockchain space.
Sure. I know a lot of people. I mean, people talk about crypto tribalisms, and I think it's true more so on the investing side than the developer side. But do you feel like um, Secret could do a better job of advertising to other ecosystems, like the Ethereum network in particular, that like there's a chance privacy is coming to Ethereum and it's coming soon and it's coming from this project? Because a lot of people I've encountered are like, they'll see the secret network and they'll be like, I'm not a huge fan of the Cosmos ecosystem. You're like a competitor to Ethereum. Like, do you think that's pretty short-sighted, or what's your kind of view on that interaction between communities?
Um, that's a good question, actually, and I think that is a question that should go to the whole network as a whole. I don't think, personally, I don't think that it's the right time to talk to Ethereum projects just
Right.
because we don't have a bridge between the network at the moment. So
Mm-hmm.
um, developers have like this mindset, because I have that mindset. If there's
Right.
something,
Right.
move to what works, right? And I want to make sure that when we do propose ourselves, we should have a functionality, at least or on the test net or wherever it is, having an option that's running and showcase that, hey, you can bring this, and that's when developers can start building things.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, I want to make sure that I personally feel, at least from my perspective, this is not the right time to uh, reach out to Ethereum developers, but we can always talk about it.
Right. So I'm gonna shift more so back to the validator discussion. What are your long-term goals with Secure Secrets as a validator, and what separates a good validator from an excellent validator?
Right. As far as long-term goals are concerned for Secure Secrets as a validator, I would say it includes that we want to make sure that external organizations and institutions are able to interact with the secret
Okay.
network through our validator, and we want to position ourselves in such a way that we have enough infrastructure to support that. Because as a validator, I it has to be 100% secure as much as it can. It has to be having uptime and all of that stuff that a validator has to have. But I think the real key part is that we want other organizations, networks, institutions, individuals, whatnot, connect to the network. And Secure Secrets wants to position itself in such a way that we could allow that possibility.
Sure. Sure.
Um, as far as the difference between a good validator and excellent validator, um, definitely goes with the hardware to some extent, because um, we do have a lot of hardware that could be used technically, but we don't at the same time,
Right.
because we use SGX hardware, and just depending on what the network supports, we may be limited to a very narrow range of hardware. And from there on, it goes to how you set up that validator, making sure that you're having a whole sentry set up, or are you going to be doing a router DDoS protection, or
Sure.
do you want like proper balancing, load balancing between your validator nodes and sentry nodes. So all of that, I think those technical terms here, I don't know if many people will understand, but having that set up would really make an excellent validator. But again, the point is that the validator has to be sustainable, because um, currently the hardware itself is costly, and having a whole infrastructure set up around it may not necessarily be compensated in terms of
Sure.
commissions.
So a better validator than when we said good versus excellent. Perhaps when we say an excellent validator, does that just really mean, for our viewers that don't necessarily know, that would mean hardware that's more secure, or hardware with better uptime? Or if we could really simplify it for people watching, what would that kind of boil down to?
So it definitely would be hardware with uptime for now. I think uptime is still very unclear on Explorers with the secret network at the moment, because it only shows the last 100 blocks. But when you make that the last 10,000 blocks or last 100,000 blocks, we see that there is a variation in uptime. And uptime is important to most delegators in this case, because that's where you earn your rewards.
Right.
And I think that would be most of the community's interest in this case. And because every other thing that a validator does to set up is to prevent downtime. And I think that is the one thing that would separate. So uptime is, I think, the critical part that's going to see which node is going to stay up for the longest.
Sure. So in the validator and delegator community, how, as a whole, because there's a pretty large community of people that are passionate about privacy, and I think Secret Network is unique in that that's kind of the foundation of this entire thing. But what can people do to further the adoption of privacy outside of the blockchain space?
I think delegators really play an important role in this. And I think people who are invested in the network, that is important, that it is important that you spread the word about privacy, how privacy is important in daily life. And usually privacy is not like a concern of end users, usually, but I think end users have to be aware about which institutions, organizations, or services they use provide privacy as a key factor. Because if they do provide key factors, that's where you should be going. And when those institutions come into play, that's where you go and tell those institutions, hey, you should use Secret Network for privacy preserving applications, right? So your consumers, your customers will have this particular feature. And I think that's how delegators can spread the word, really. Validators and delegators are very go hand in hand. I would say like that the more delegations a validator has, the more voice and stake in the network that person has, as in terms of the governance of the whole secret network.
Sure. Well, Mohammed, thank you so much for being our first guest. Obviously, the Secure Secrets is hosting this series of validators, and we're starting with Secure Secrets. But thank you for giving your time, and so thank you for that. And so, kind of your open mic moment. You can look into the camera, look right into the community's eyes and your audience. Kind of open mic moment for anything you wanna say to them right now.
Right. I hope the secret network really picks up pace, and we start seeing a lot of development involvement with the secret network. And I think that's to reach out to all delegators and the whole community as a whole to spread the word. It may be social media or your personal life. I think it's important that people be educated in privacy. I'm glad that we're doing this series actually further, because we can get this information out to our delegators as well as the wider secret network community. And I'm looking forward to all the other validators that will come on the series.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. If you guys enjoyed this content, please let us know below. We will have plenty of links in the description to be able to find out more about Secure Secrets and just the network in general. Be sure to subscribe. We have a lot of great content on the way. We really are passionate about this space and continuing to bring transparency and openness about how the network's developing, what's being built, why it's being built. We want to bring the answers to those questions, and that's going to be a lot of the content that's on the way. So thank you guys. Have a great day, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching this episode of Community Unveiled, Meeting the Secret Validators. I'm your host, Carter Lee Wetzel with Secure Secrets. We would love if you could support us and the many validators in this community. Long live privacy and the future of Web 2.0.